what the 10th house is, what the midheaven is the house of status. So this house has given birth to Capricorn. And the 8th house gave birth to Scorpio. I forgot to say that. But the 10th house birthed Capricorn. So it's going to come with those traits, but the house itself, you know, is different. The 10th house is essentially like the stage. Like, this is what everybody sees you for. This is what you want to be seen for a lot of times, depending on how your MC is aspected. But lots of times this is the house, like this is how we want to be seen. And this is another thing, like and this is kind of off topic, but when talking about like ascendant signs, your ascendant is made up of all of these houses. That's why an astrologer can hear that you are a certain ascendant sign, and they can kind of tell you about your life based off like the other houses, you know, because they know what's going on in those houses. They know the energy that's going on in those houses. They make up your ascendant. I'm a very late Scorpio ascendant, like 25 degrees. So I share similarities with people who are Sagittarius risings, because a lot of my houses fall within the spectrum of like being a Sag ascendant. So, but moving on, because I was about to get deep into that. But anyways, moving on. So the 10th house, again, is essentially status. This is how you want to be seen by others. This is the stage, you know, this is where you put on your performance. This is who you are on stage, right? And my 10th house, again, because I'm using me as an example, is in Virgo. In Virgo. My 10th house is in Virgo. So what this means essentially is that I kind of want to be seen as like this well put together person, such a perfectionist, you know, as I said. And then, but also, like I said, 10th house is going to deal with your career as well on like a more pop, you know, like I said, pop side of this astrology thing. Deals with your career. So your career has a lot to do with the 10th house. Virgo is also known as like the healer. This can have something to do with health. And I definitely feel like I'm a person who, because I'm into like, you know, I'm vegan, I'm into spirituality, things of that nature. So yes, I teach people about health inside and out is what I strive to do, is how I want to be seen. Like, and obviously you can see how you can make money off of that, right? Plenty of people do that. They are these spiritual gurus who teach you how to eat. People come up with dieting. What am I trying to say? Dieting, I almost said regimens. What am I trying to say? Like, people come up with dieting guides, I guess, and sell those, you know, to different people. So that's another way that you can make money doing things like that. Like the way you match up your houses, you know? And then I have planets within that house as well. I have Mars there. Mars is exalted in the 10th house. People with Mars in the 10th house, we are kind of hard on ourselves because we feel like we have to obtain this certain amount of like status, you know? And once we feel like we have a direction, there's no stopping us. It's like we want to accomplish. And sometimes we forget to look at the things that we have accomplished. Like it just never feels like it's good enough, right? But I also have Chiron in that house. So Chiron is like, chill out, you're not getting it. Like, I feel like that's what Chiron says. Chiron is like, chill out, you're not gonna get it. Like, period. You're not gonna get it. Chill out. So, but Chiron deals on a serious side. Chiron is the wounded healer. So it can deal with like a lot of struggles that we go through in life. Obviously being the wounded healer, these are things that you have to heal from, and that's true. I always feel like I want to be looked at people like I'm the best, you know, like I'm accomplished, like I've done something. And that's something that I have had to work on very hard about myself, like, because I'm very critical of myself and my work and things that I do, like even my artwork and stuff like that. A lot of stuff goes unfinished, which is actually counterproductive. That's just the life of a Virgo Mars. But a lot of things go unfinished because I'm trying so hard to be a perfectionist. I never actually do it because I'm worried that I'm gonna mess it up, which is silly, like so silly. I had to recognize that issue though. But anyways, moving on. So yes, you want to check the ruler of the house again. Once again, ruled by Mercury, it's going back to my 7th house. So as we can see from my chart, a lot of my coins, you know, a lot of my money, a lot of my career and things of that nature so far is dealing with other people. It's dealing with relationships, you know, things of that nature, or relating things, like telling people how things relate, right? And a lot of 9th house things are going on with my chart. So yeah, so it's almost like that's very interesting. Also have Libra in that 10th house. As we know, Libra is the sign of communication and things of that nature. So my career could definitely have something to do with communication, relating to others, health, spirituality. These are things that I'm just putting together, you know, as home, family, things of that nature. And so say I was this big YouTube star, right? It would make sense. It would make sense if you put all this together. Like even my little banner on my page, it says like family, veganism, spirituality, and something else I forgot. That's so funny. It's my page and I forgot. It says something else like that. But you get it, you see what I'm saying? Like that's what my page is about. Like all these different things would tie in. And if I were to just like try to pursue this full time, I could possibly be successful. So the last thing I wanted to talk about, dealing with, you know, money. This actually doesn't have to do with money like the most. Like I would say this has the very least to do with money, right? The North Node. So the North Node, I feel like has the very least to do with money. But again, the way to tie it in is just because of how we feel about money, right? So because I don't want to sound so shallow talking about this, but the North Node is essentially like our spiritual path. It's almost like what it really is like a space of energy that is very uncomfortable for us, but you gain things from uncomfortability, you know. You gain things from putting yourself into a new space. So this is essentially like the path that you should follow in order to put yourself in a new space, in order to learn and collect those gems while you're here on Earth, right? So and as I said, North Node energy is uncomfortable. Like it's definitely going to be something that once you hear it off bat, you're going to be like, no, I don't think I like that. And of course, maybe not everybody, but most people, like when I'm telling them their North Node and I'm telling them their path, they're looking at me like, do you know me? Like, do you know who I am? And I'm like, that's what the stars said, dude. I can't do nothing about that, I'm sorry. But my North Node is in the 11th house and it's in Scorpio. So this is kind of like, and when I heard this, I was just looking like, what? Like, no way. In the 11th house. So the 11th house is dealing with the masses. The 11th house is dealing with groups of people, groups, period. You know what I'm saying? Like it deals with groups, basically. This is the, like I said, the simplest way to put it. Deals with groups, deals with organizations. The internet can fall into the 11th house just because of how we it's networking, how we network on the internet and things of that nature, how we all are able to come together using the internet, you know, resources, because the 11th house, because I'm sorry. So Aquarius is birthed out the 11th house. Aquarius is the sign of, you know, humanitarianism, groups, socialite, things of that nature. So they are ruled by Saturn, is their traditional ruler, right? But co-ruled by Uranus. And so definitely makes sense for me. It's just something that I don't really like. And that's because I'm a loner. Like, I really like to be alone a lot. So I can't really see myself being a part of a group ever. Like, even when I do find people that I feel like are, you know, like we're on the same level, we're into the same things, I always feel the need to go back into my shell and stay there. Like, I don't know. That's something that I'm learning from my partner. Like, we're in such a learning relationship. I feel like our relationship is definitely a learning one, because he has a lot. I don't want to put his business out there because he don't like people knowing his astrology stuff, but I'll just say his chart has a lot to do with communication. And naturally, I have placements like I have my Mercury and my Venus in Gemini. I'm aspected heavily with Mars there, with my moon there is, you know, aspecting my Mercury and things of that nature. So communication is something that comes natural to me. Like, I'm able to just ramble and talk about stuff all day. No lie. Like, even as much as I try to make these videos short, y'all, I be having to cut, because like I just be running my mouth like I'm doing now. I'm just talking. But his way of communicating, because he will, it's not like he doesn't communicate. It's his way of communicating that I feel like I help him with. And then he has Aquarius placements and, you know, things of that nature, to where it's like we're in a relationship where we're comfortable with teaching one another. And his Aquarius placements come in handy because I'm such, like, I heard this about Leo moons, because I'm a Leo moon. I heard this, that we think people feel the way that we feel, right? Not true at all, is what I keep learning throughout my life. Like, I keep having to learn this. Like, everybody doesn't feel the way that you feel about things. So even though I have all this communicative energy in my chart, sometimes, like, I don't want to say sometimes, but as I was growing up, I was very bad at communicating. Like, I can talk my butt off, but actually communicating effectively is something that I had to learn over time. So that's something I'm definitely learning from him, because certain things that I'm just very, like, I think too much of other people. I think too much of, like, overstepping boundaries and stuff, that I be thinking like, no way somebody is gonna be okay with me doing that. No way somebody is gonna, you know, like, care about this thing that I'm talking about. No way somebody is, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I be trying to not overstep my boundaries, but he's teaching me that that's actually networking, you know, reaching out to people, telling people things that you think they wouldn't care about, like putting yourself out there to fail, you know, things like that. So that's a lot of things that I learned from him. But getting back to this, with my North Node being in the 11th house, he helps me with that a lot. And I didn't think groups were that important, but they really are, especially because we're moving into the age of Aquarius. It's very important for you to have a group at this time. You know what I'm saying? Like, you really need a tribe, because your tribe sets you up to win. Like, your tribe sets you up to go. And so it's almost like being in Scorpio, I feel like, because Scorpio is the sign of transformation, the sign of change, you know, depth, things of that. I am here to help transform the masses. Like, I am here to help transform groups of people, you know? I am here to attract a tribe. Like, that's what I'm here for. And I have to pull from my South Node energy. So my South Node is in Taurus and it's in the 5th house. South Node energy is your comfortability. This is how you can use these different things to win, essentially. So if I'm in a space, so you have to learn how to bring comfortability into uncomfortability. So I would have to learn how to bring my 5th house qualities, which are me, basically, like, you know, Leo is about shining, baby. So, but also like attention, you know, expression, things of that nature. So bringing that to the masses, learning how to give other people shine, learning how to put other people in the spotlight, you know? And I'm really good at that. I actually am really good at that. I feel like I came equipped with the tools for that. I'm a Leo moon, I'm a Cancer sun, I care about people. It's apparent. And then my Leo moon, I like to give it. I'm just as comfortable with giving attention as I am with receiving attention. So it really helps me when I meet people. Maybe at first just off the vibe, because I do give off auras. Like, they may be looking at me like, she is a little suspicious. But once they get to know me, people see like, oh, okay, you know, she's actually really cool. Like, because I am. That's funny. But yeah, so in a nutshell, that is how you can use astrology to kind of like come up with, you know, ways to make money and things. And so I did want to go through and look at some other charts and kind of just tie it in. The next chart, the first chart I wanted to look at was Jay-Z. So if we go through and do the same thing for Jay-Z, right? His second house is in Libra. So right away, something that falls into his house of values is communication, right? And it's a sophisticated kind of communication because it's in the sign of Libra. Libra brings sophistication, you know? So he also, the planet, well, he has Scorpio in there as well. And so that's depth, you know? That's like that occult mysticism type thing going on. So these are things that fall into his value. These energies are there within his house of value. He also has the sign of Jupiter in his second house. Jupiter is going to cause expansion, of course, but Jupiter can also be linked to music a lot of times. And it's in the sign of Libra, which is communication. So if we look, because this house is ruled by Libra, if we look to see where his chart, that house ruler is, Venus is in the third house. That's the house of communication, the house of speaking. And it is in the sign of Sagittarius, wisdom, knowledge, you know, things of that nature. So yes, this is the house of communication itself right here. So already we're kind of seeing like how things are tying in, right? How he could, you know, potentially profit off of his skills, off of what he's naturally equipped with, right? Naturally things that come into his life day to day. And then I didn't mean to say day to day, I meant to say his values. So then we move on to the sixth house, and his sixth house is in Aquarius, another sign of communication. But also, again, our sixth house is our day-to-day work, right? Or a day-to-day routine. So Aquarius there, it's gonna make his day-to-day routine a little unorthodox. It's gonna make him feel like he wants things to be different, you know? Like he doesn't want his day-to-day routine to be such the same. Like it has to be something different going on. He also has Pisces there, so spirituality is gonna be something incorporated into that day-to-day routine, right? Planets in this house, not really a planet, but he has his North Node here. So, and it's very close to his descendant line. So North Node here, and it's in Pisces. So again, our sixth house can rule health as well. So with the North Node here in Pisces, I feel like he's here to walk that spiritual path, you know? It's in Pisces, but it's in the opposite house of where it's used to being at, because, you know, Pisces is opposite to Virgo. So he's really gonna have to be a person who can bring that bring that comfortability into his uncomfortability. So his South Node is in Virgo. Virgo, as we know, analytical, it's dealing with communication as well, but more in the sense of thinking, you know, routine, day-to-day things or whatever. So he's gonna have to bring that back into the sixth house where it belongs, first of all. But also, this is health, right? Health of the journey. I feel like the journey of health is what I'm hearing from this. I'm so sad. The universe is talking to me, so that's what I'm hearing. But yes, the 12th house deals with the subconscious health, right? This is like mental health almost. And then the 6th house can be like our physical health in a sense. So he's gonna have to learn how to blend those two energies together. And I feel like that's very much a thing for him, because his music, you know, the things that he talks about is very urban. It's very explanatory of what, you know, African Americans, Black people, whatever you want to call us, go through on a day-to-day basis within this society. So So almost like, you know, he's doing the right thing. And then we have to see where the ruler of that house is. So Aquarius. Saturn is the traditional ruler. So Saturn is within the 8th house. This is the occult, mysticism, you know, things of that nature. So like I said, day-to-day routine, he's going to be delving into those energies because that ruler, like that 6th house is going to have something to do with the 8th house. So shared finances as well, again, as we said, comes in the 8th house. And then the signs that are there, Taurus and Aries. So that just tells you how it plays out, you know, concrete sort of things. Like he wants to gain stability, basically, through occult mysticism, things of that nature. And so, what am I saying? Oh, and then, you know, Aquarius is co-ruled by Uranus as well. Uranus here falls within his 1st house. So it's going to have something to do with his persona. It's going to have something to do with the personal people, places, and things in his life. So, you know, a lot of his home life probably has something to do with the music that he writes and things of that nature. Personal experiences, things, because he's a Sagittarius sun. So, but before I get too deep, moving on. So from the 6th house to the 10th, or we said the 8th house. So his 8th house, shared finances, starts in Aries. Aries, as we know, is a little bit of impulsive energy. So maybe he's willing to act on things, dealing with other people's finances. You know, like he's probably about action, like let's do this, let's do that type thing. But Saturn is there as well. So there's two sides to every coin. It could either be restricting you from things dealing with occult mysticism, from depth, or, you know, things like that, or it can bring it on strong and you can actually gain stability in this, like from this area, right? And I feel like that's what happened because it's in retrograde, so inward. So it's going to be having to gain some sort of inward stability, you know, gaining some stability coming from the depths of oneself. Like, so he really had to tap into his psyche, I feel like, to get where he was. And then ruler of that house is Mars. Mars falls into the 5th house. Make sure I'm saying that right. Yes. So Mars is in the 5th house. 5th house is dealing with expression. 5th house is, you know, setting the stage type of thing. Like you're setting the stage here. You're expressing yourself. And so that kind of makes sense, you know, having Mars here and him, as we know, like what he's known for. So again, that 8th house is going to have something to do with the 5th house. So when you blend those two energies together, it's almost like shining the light on the occult, the mysticism, things of that nature, you know, bringing those things to the light. And so yes, moving on now to his 10th house. So his MC, this is how we perceive him, how we see him. This is his stage, you know. His 10th house is in Gemini. So that's another sign of communication, right? Gemini in the 10th house, like I said, communication, where he doesn't have any planets there. So the ruler of that 10th house is Mercury, and that's falling into his 4th house of Sagittarius. So home, family life, and things of that nature, maybe things that he speaks about, which we know he does, you know, he speaks about his privacy is the 4th house as well. So things that happen in private are things that he may rap about, you know. He also has Cancer here, so that energy is going to affect his 10th house as well. So home, family life, as we just said. The ruler of the Cancer is the moon. The moon falls in his 1st house. So again, going back to his persona, his personal life type of things. And then we already talked about like the North Node being within the 6th house. So that's like his spiritual path being on, you know, in his day-to-day routine type of thing. So yeah, so that's just, you know, a way that you could tie in other people's charts just to see like how they have become who they are. So yeah, that's just my take on, you know, money and how it is involved with astrology. Again, like I said, money doesn't really have anything to do with astrology. It's just how we feel about it that helps us place it into different areas of life. So yeah, that was super long. I hope you guys stayed with me. In my next video, I don't know. I don't like to say what my next video is going to be because sometimes I end up not doing it. But more than likely, my next video, I'm going to talk about like how to read a chart, and I don't know, it'll be some other sort of topic as well. We're not just gonna learn how to read the chart, we're gonna do something with it like we did today. But thank you guys for watching. I appreciate all of the support that I've been getting in my videos. I love it. All the comments that you guys leave, like, I do this as a hobby right now, you know, but I really love it. Like, I really like it. So if you guys would like to leave some suggestions, like what are some things that y'all want to know about astrology? That's what it was. I was going to explain, I just jumped in like that. I was going to explain why astrology works. So I'll do that in my next video. But thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.